Well, hello! Welcome to Drawing with Fire. I'm Valerie, your neighborhood pyrography artist. I'm joined with hubby.
Hubcap.
And today we're doing white soft petals. Yes, we're doing white soft petals. Remember, this is on basswood. I'm actually going to use a bigger tip than I've been using in order to get that lower heat and that lighter burn. Sorry I didn't finish the books. I really wanted to have them finished, but I was doing other videos too. Hey Spence, hey Barb. So I've got the 18S and it's currently on 1.5, and this is going to be very light. So we're just going to zoom in. Whee! And what I'm going to do is try to work on one of these petals, and we might talk about the rose further up. So I have my reference photo. It's toned so that I can see how the tone is versus the color, because remember, white has tone to it, so we have to really pay attention to that. I'm going to fold my photos so it's just easier for me to fold, and I think we're going to go with this one because it's folded and it might be hard to see on the photo. Yep, so it's going to be the bottom right here. Can everybody hear us? Hopefully we have no issues with audio. I see audio. Cat is quiet.
That's weird.
So I'm not sure what's going on there. So let us know how it sounds. Alrighty, so we're going to get right in there. So 1.5. And what I want to do first is do a nice smooth burn of where the petal is folded. Now remember, when something's further away from the light, it's got more shadow, and when it's closer to the light, it has less shadow. So let's get that fold in there. Make sure. I'm just going to drag across, and in fact, I grabbed the wrong pen. I had it, and then I put it down, and I grabbed the wrong one. Here we go. There we go, 18M. In fact, I can go even lower to 1 because this is still a thin tip, so it's still going to burn darker, but we are working on a shadow that is darker, and I'm just using more of the tip and I'm just dragging. So we'll get that in there. Now what's really going to read as white is the fact that it's sitting on this black fabric, and as soon as we negative burn that, it's going to read a whole lot better. So just getting in some of the lines. I'm barely touching, and I'm going quickly with this stroke. Just dragging down very quickly so that I can get a lighter burn there. Have it feel more real. Now, when something is folded, there is that dark, so let's get that in there. This petal is folded, and Layla is going to be...
She keeps it up, I'll go.
Layla.
Get her.
She's like, you're not paying attention
like she
to
knows.
me. She knows.
She does the same thing when we have lunch.
Yeah,
She runs outside and starts barking.
She knows. Alright, so let's get some more of this in there. Is chat working?
Yes.
Okay, so...
Apparently our audio is good.
Okay, thank you. And what I'm going to do is actually just do a little bit of negative burning. I'm going to bump up to 2.5 because this won't be my final dark, but I do want it dark. And I'm going to go right up against and drag down. And this part is going to go even darker. But this is where a fold is, right here. That's getting no light. And we'll go over the fabric next week. I just want to get some negative burning around here, because it does help make a difference.
So, Kathy Grimes.
Hey, Kathy.
Says hi from Mama Kay out Wickenburg Way.
Ah,
So glad to see you. Sounds
thank
great.
you.
And Truch says audio is good.
Okay, good. I got bings in my face. Yeah, we'll go over the fabric.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier.
You need a haircut.
You just need to be able to curl them.
You gave me a haircut.
I gave you a haircut.
I got my hat on, but that's because I'm cold. But I'm taking it off.
I bet say you said you weren't going to wear it.
No.
All right.
I like my haircut. You did a good job.
Thank you. I'm going to go down to 1, let my pen cool for a second. Take a drink. And while I'm waiting, what I can do is take my white charcoal General's pencil, and we're just going to hit those high highlights so we know where those are. Get those in there. So that reads right.
I could cut your hair.
No.
What?
Not happening.
Don't trust me?
No.
But I've cut
After what you did to your head?
Yeah, but that's my hair that I did.
No. Not happening.
Brian Webster says hello from South Florida.
Oh, hello, Brian. Hello.
Last couple of weeks of lives, we've gotten some new people in.
We have. It's awesome.
Which is awesome, yeah.
All right. So this shows us where our highest highlights are. And because we're on wood, is going to be either really bright or not. So let's get some under here so we can shape this petal. Let's get it shaped.
Gary Weingarten.
Well, hello, Gary.
Says, hi, great work as usual. I don't
Thank
know if I pronounced that. I did the German pronunciation, but it might just be Weingarten.
Alright. So now, based on what I'm seeing around, what I'm doing, I can go a little bit darker with the inner shadow, and I'm just using the tip on 1. I'm just dragging it. Trying to make this petal feel like it is folding. That is my goal. Make it feel like it's folding. Get some darks in here away from. There we go. You just drag down because there is some texture in the petal. We're going to drag down. It looks like the petal's turning right here as well. So I'm just going to quickly move my pen around, and what I do want to do is I want to erase. I want to erase. Get rid of any graphite in the middle, and I can even go up, get some of that graphite off. But I need to be careful because I don't have the fabric burned in there yet, so I need to be careful, or I'll lose that line. And this line as well, so I'll just do that. Just take your time, and it's not going to read right until you get everything else in and you start working on your tonal values. Like right here, the fabric is lighter because light's hitting it. So I need to make sure I don't go as dark. But I'll be able to blend out. That's why I didn't go full on dark, is to give me the ability to blend out. So without outlining, I'll put this petal in because I really don't want to outline it. You can, and that is a style choice, but when you outline, when you're going for realism, it doesn't read right. It reads more like cartoony or stylized versus the realism, if that's what you're going for. Now, if you're going for that feeling, absolutely do it, because that's going to help it feel more like what you're going for. Now, when I put more darks around this, where I burned right here is going to be lighter. It's going to read to your eyes lighter. A lot of this is about how our eyes perceive things. So, deep breath. It may feel dark in the beginning, but it will start lightening up as you put other things around it. And sometimes that's hard to remember, because you look at it and you're like, I went too dark, but you really didn't. You really didn't. Alright, shaping this petal a little bit better. I think the petals and the fabric really are going to be the easiest part to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of texture there, is there?
It's more of, not that there's not a lot of texture, because the fabric does have the light hitting it, as do these petals. It's just bigger areas. Alright, get some of this dark in here. I'm really trying not to move over to the fabric, but here. We're going to zoom in, and I'm going to go over to this petal right here. That way we can see. And this one's really light. I really transferred it light. I transferred light because it is white. I didn't want the graphite to show through. And sometimes you will lose those lines if you go really light. So here I'm using half of the bottom of the tip and just going back and forth and then in oval strokes to kind of blend out and get a more smooth gradient. And as I go to where it's lighter, I'm going to speed up even more, because that speed up is going to make a lighter burn. So let's get that fold in there. This is a little darker. Here, I can go ahead and start moving slowly, just dragging down, cutting in the petal so I don't lose it. Very important I don't lose it. Because right here we have a lip. So I want to make sure and keep.
Burrow's here.
Hey, Burrow. Alright.
Oh, Beryl says here for a good time. Maybe not a long time. Lost power once already today.
Oh, that stinks.
Why are you losing power, Beryl?
She lives out in the middle of nowhere.
I know. But it seems like there'd be something going on.
Alright.
Thunderstorms or something.
So right here we do have a shadow. This is the undercut line right here that I'm putting in. So just dragging across very quickly so it's not too dark. It goes under this petal. So I need to make sure I get that right. And then it's dark up into the flower. So I'm just shaping based on where I'm putting my shadows. I'm just shaping.
Brian Webster says, I'm a watercolor artist and have been experimenting with watercolor on wood.
Awesome.
Have you ever burned in the dark values and then colored in the medium and light values with watercolor? Well, yes, you have, haven't you?
Well, I have applied watercolors to burnings, but I don't. I do a full burning and then do the color. There are orchids that I did with. I just went blank.
Was that watercolor pencils?
No. I did actual watercolors on the orchids, but I did it with the powder. I can't think of the name of the powder right now. It's totally escaping me. The name of the powder.
I remember that.
Yeah, and then I did, and I add watercolor paint to that.
Was that the little orchids that we had up at that show?
They're over there on the wall.
Okay, let me know if you want them.
Sure.
Yes, you do?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's see here. This is fabric. Trying to make sure I don't lose my spot. Yeah, we did those on live.
Let's see. Now you're gonna think, what's an orchid?
Oh, silly! It's the blue and purple, pink one.
Ah, yes. This one, right? These are the orchids.
Yes.
Ah, I knew that.
But right now, so I did watercolors. Tonal value on the video is bad with these orchids, and I did some on the bear. That's you can't see right now. I did that a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I do it not often, and I do try to always put the full wood burning in, because I want I want it to be a burning that has color added versus color with burning added.
Burl says wind, lots of wind. I understand that.
Yeah.
Apparently it's very windy and cold where Spence is as well. Truch says, these real-time live streams are so helpful. I learned so much about technique. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We appreciate you being here.
We do.
Because if you guys weren't here, then we would be sitting by ourselves. So, which has almost happened a couple times.
It has. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
You know what? Valerie is here for you, and I am here for Valerie.
Which
and
means you're here.
And also for the toasties. I'm just here for the free food, actually. So.
All right, here. So we have a really bright petal right here.
Oh, Brian says, awesome and nicely done.
Thank you.
I think that that's and I know I don't normally have a second cup of coffee, but it's kicking in. But yeah, I think that Brian, I think that when some people do a lot of colors on the wood burning, but
and that's their choice.
That's their choice. I think that if you're going to do wood burning, you should let the strength of the wood burning like carry the piece because it's a wood burning, you know. But I think that accenting it can be really, really beautiful. So, and watercolors are a pretty good way. The only thing you got to worry about is what? Raising the grain, right?
But that I used watercolor ground on the wood.
Yeah, and Val's got a couple of videos about that, right?
I've only done it the one time.
Just the one time? Oh, okay.
So right now I'm just putting on that bright headlight. It's a bright headlight.
Do you want me to get the car?
Sure. Highlight.
Might get loud.
And I'm just kind of blending it in because not all of it's completely bright. So I'm just using my finger to push it into the grain. Now, when I go back to when I wipe the board down, some of it will come off, but not all of it. Let's see here. And I'll probably use some more of that white that I used on the Bear in the Live. The ink. Gouache. It's right there behind you. To add in these bright, bright headlights. Because when I go to varnish this, the charcoal will fade into the wood. So I need to use something a little brighter. What's it called?
Oh, did you want me to get it?
It's right there behind you by your cup to the right.
This right here?
Yep. Yeah. Yes, bleed-proof white. I'm stuck not on other art supplies.
What is it?
Bleed-proof white. It's the gouache that lifts up.
Okay.
It's extremely white. I used it on the Bear and it actually works really good with burnings. Alright, let's get that fold in there. Blend it out.
Starting to get the itch to paint.
Good.
I've been writing for so long.
Let's see here. This
Writing for
petal.
a month.
Alright, I'm a little off on my petal shape. So what that is, I'm going to go ahead and erase the white that I just applied because when you burn over this white charcoal, it grays out the burning. I don't want to do that. So I need to reshape, push up.
Merle says, I bought that and forgot what I wanted it for. My bear.
Yeah.
I'll have to remember that. Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah. It actually worked really well. I was quite happy with that.
Yeah, because you needed those really bright highlights for the water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the water coming off the...
Water droplets.
Mm-hmm. See, I made that a little bigger than I wanted to, but you know what? We'll live. Only you guys will know it because I told you. Luckily with petals, if you're a little off, nobody else, unless you tell them, is going to know you're off. So it's not worth stressing over. Petals, like rocks, come in all different shapes and sizes. You're just not going to see that difference.
Oh boy. Brian says, I agree wholeheartedly. I think he's talking about the coloring. The wood burning tool he has is about 50 years old and has a cork handle.
I know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
It's a, yeah. But is it one of the craft burners that looks like a soldering iron? I'm trying to think. There was a wire tip a long time ago. But, so that needs to go a little darker.
Richard Brome.
Hey, Richard.
7:30 a.m. Wednesday here in New Zealand.
Thank you. Did you get your coffee?
Nice to wake up to see your beautiful work taking shape.
Oh, thank you.
New Zealand, I'm jealous.
I know.
I love New Zealand. It's Middle Earth, you know.
I do.
Yep.
Thing is we got somebody we can visit there.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if he's going full. Citizenship.
You might have trouble getting me back.
That's why we haven't gone.
I'm moving to Hobbiton.
You're moving to Hobbiton?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we might be a little too big. Alright, so all I'm doing, I'm trying not to outline. All I'm doing is putting my dark cut line.
Not according to the camera. I'm just the right size according to the camera.
You are. You are. So just cutting underneath. Well, that's because you insist on sitting lower.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's perspective. It's because I'm back further away from you.
Well, but you're also lower than me.
Yeah, that's true. Either that, or else that's our deep dark secret, is that you married a hobbit.
Yeah, our deep dark secret. Let's see here. I'm looking for something. Excuse me. Little runny nose there. Alrighty.
Getting kind of chilly here.
Not chilly enough. So I'm going to bump down back to 1.5. And just, because I've burned this area, it'll take more heat at a higher setting without getting too dark. And again, I'm moving very quickly.
Brian's talking about the wood burning tool. He says it has a thick round tip and a chisel-shaped point.
Yeah, that would be a craft burner.
And most people think it is a soldering gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the old ones.
Yeah.
Alright, let's shape this shadow a little bit better.
I'm not scrolling on Instagram, bro.
She's trying to get you in trouble again?
Always. Bro's a tattletale. I'm drawing and I actually haven't done anything because I'm doing my job. I got one job here, bro.
One.
Just like on Galaxy Quest, my job is to read the notes off the computer.
Alright, so as these darks get built up, it'll start looking more like flower petals. And then we can start, let's get some, what I'm doing is trying to just tone a little bit, because remember when we go to seal the wood, we're going to lose some of our lighter burn because the wood is going to darken from the varnish. It's not that the burning goes away, it's just that it's darkened, and so our lighter burns have faded into the wood. So if you don't want that fade to happen, you have to burn a little darker than you expected, and that's why I wipe off with the, one of the reasons I wipe off with the denatured alcohol, because it wets the wood down, very quickly dries, so it doesn't raise the grain. And it shows me how dark a certain burn is. And then I can always go back and darken it.
I don't like to use denatured alcohol.
Why?
Because it's too emotionless. I like to use the good-natured alcohol.
Ah, yes. Yes, he's here all week.
I'm an expert. Listen to me.
Look at that, guys. He made a funny. All right.
Don't diminish my expertise.
As for the
You
rose
don't know.
on the book,
The children love the books.
you can't watch that for another month and a half.
I know, but you keep bringing up books. It's gonna happen.
Because we got books in the line.
And the children love the books. Oh boy, that second cup of coffee is really hitting me hard.
It is.
Woo, boy. I had to cut down to 1 cup of coffee in the morning because my blood pressure, and it dropped it immediately.
Can I have that piece of
Are you
paper,
throwing
please?
stuff just to distract me?
It fell
I know your
off.
tricks.
It fell off. So this rose right here is really pushed back into the darks. Thank you. And we can see that right here. So it's going to go darker than the petals we've been working on over here, but lighter than the book, and then it fades out. This one,
The children love the books.
we don't even see this one. So I'm not going to burn it in. I had planned on it, and I included it in the powder for the special toasties because if they choose not to go as dark with the photo, they don't have to, and then that way they have all the lines. But I do want to go into these darks. So right now I'm going to find the shape that matches my shadow. It's going to take me a second to get my boundaries. And then I'm going to start cutting in these dark shadows. I'm going to put these in first, because one, it shapes the flower petals that are in front of it. All of these are layers. Petals are always layers. So you've got one layer on top of the next, on top of the next, and they all interact with each other. So I'm moving very quickly to blend out that shadow. Let's see here. We have a shadow here. Like I said, these are the dark, dark shadows. If you want to save this rose for when you start putting in the dark background, you could. That way you may feel more comfortable blending it out. Definitely depends on what you're comfortable with. So I'm shaping this petal right here. Buttheads.
So, Kathy, Barbie says looking amazing.
Thank you.
Kathy says looking great. Getting her second cup of coffee. Need to catch up. Trooch has a question. I've been preparing my wood the way you suggest in your video. Is there any benefit or detriment to sanding the wood above 320?
I go to 400, but to go any higher than that, yes, you start polishing the wood. Now, if you're not going to add color or any kind of color, stain, colored pencil, or whatnot, you'll have to pay attention to how the wood takes the varnish. If you go higher than 400, in fact, I was talking to somebody about this in the group yesterday. 400 polishes. But anything higher than 400 is meant specifically to polish out varnish or a natural finish versus anything else.
Yeah.
If you want to add color, like stain, the instructions specifically say that the wood needs to be 220. Because when you polish those higher grits, you close off the pores in the wood. Wood is very porous, so if you close those off, nothing can penetrate it. So you're going to have streaking, like in an area that maybe didn't polish as well. Harder penetration of any color if you're adding color. There just really is not a reason to do it.
Yeah, because 400...
I'm on 400.
Like, if you deal with automotive stuff, 400 is recommended for clear coats and stuff, because it's it's still a smooth surface, but it gives the surface enough tooth for whatever it is that you're trying to, like clear coat or whatever, to stick to. And like you said, anything higher than that, you have adherence problems. And then, like, I think too, like when you polish above that, like you said, you're compressing down the wood fibers, as well as you're creating a sealing surface, like you said. So
it does not make a difference in burning. I've sanded to 600 to see if it does. I did not feel a difference. Now, I am using the Optima, and that in general does burn smoother, but I have not felt a difference in going up to those higher grits. It's also very time consuming, a lot of wear on your wood. It's more important to start, like if your wood is rough, it's more important to start with a low grit and really work out any of the rough spots versus trying to polish it at the end. So
I think too,
I wouldn't spend the time doing it.
I think, like you said, I think with wood, I think that there gets to be a point when going above a certain grit, I don't think you can get any more out of it, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, because I sure, well, one of the things in my family is like we're taught to sharpen knives, and if the steel of the knife isn't good enough, sometimes it doesn't do any good to take it above a certain sharpness, because it just won't get any sharper. You can use really good sharpening stones and it just doesn't do any better, you know, because the metal won't take it. So I think that's the case with wood. I think that you get to a certain point and then
it's just done.
You just can't get any smoother than that.
So this book is darker right here.
That's an opinion, though. I don't know if that's the truth. I feel like it is.
I have not felt, burning wise, that there has been any benefit to sanding that high.
Yeah, and it comes down to like what's good practice. You know, there's a reason why, like, you know, automotive, like they say, hey, you know, scuff it to 400 because that's what works. You know. And I think what you do, I think that's what works best. So.
Yeah.
How long do you want to go today?
Well, I was 5 minutes late, so I'm just trying to fold in that rose a little bit. All of this goes like super dark. I do need to finish getting the book down at the bottom in, because that's going to make a difference on how dark I go with the toning of the flower, because there's going to be an overall tone put onto the flower in order to push it back, put it in the shadows, because again our light source is coming from this direction, this way, and the face, the skull, comes further out, so this is in shadow. So you're not going to have the bright highlights that you have here where the light is coming down and it's exposed. So I need to, in order to make sure I get that tonal value right, which is a little dark there, I need to finish putting in the book. And that will help. Everything works together. I know some people like to burn a lot quicker than I do, but if you work in the layers like I do, you get more depth. Because I could just burn this all black, but it's not going to have the depth that if I put the layers in. So I'm going to have to spend that time putting those layers in. But it always seems to pay off. It takes time, but it does pay off. And I definitely had to practice that with the nausea piece that I don't know if you can really see. But there was folding her into the darkness, and I had to make sure I didn't. I started off at a higher heat, and then I quickly realized that if I lowered my heat, I got a better burn. It looked better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next week, we shall, I'm going to take some of this off, work on the fabric. And then for the final live, it's going to be the dark background, but what I'm actually going to try to do is put some of that dark background in. That way we can see the difference.
You have a question from Cindy von Nostrand. What kind of printer do you use to get such clear, detailed copies for transferring image in samples to work from? No dumb questions, Cindy.
No. In fact, can you get that top...
What?
Keep going. Yes.
This?
Yes, thank you. My brain just... Yep, this is it. So I printed this out using a Hewlett Packard on... My brain just isn't working today.
Paper.
No, but this is special paper. It's the yellow.
Transfer paper?
No, it's not transfer paper.
Tracing
Tracing paper. Tracing paper. Oh, man. Words are escaping me today. So I used a Hewlett Packard 8610 all-in-one office. And drew this in Photoshop. So I don't use the heat transfer method. I print it out onto the tracing paper and then transfer it by hand with graphite, which I use the walnut hollow graphite paper. Down in the description, I have all the links for my kit and Amazon page so that you can find this stuff a lot easier. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, Truth, I don't think you need to sand to 1200. It's just, yeah, it's a lot of work. You're removing a lot of wood you're just not going to tell a difference between, once you go past 400, you really don't feel that much of a difference. So I don't recommend going to 1200. Definitely completely your choice. Completely your choice. I don't do it. Let's see here. Sample to work. And then, just my reference photos are just printed on regular cheap printer paper. That's all, just so I can see. We got any more questions?
Cindy says thank you.
Let's back it out so they can see the tone of the wood a little bit better.
Give them about 30 seconds.
Yeah. There we go. See it a little bit better. This will all go darker. And it's slowly coming together. I definitely need to finish the books.
Looks really cool, though.
This will get so much darker, and it'll be the same as this. And just fade back into there.
Gahoka spit. Okay, wait. Gohu.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, Gohu. That's right. Wow, this is such a great idea. I pencil trace. Kathy Grimes says, "Tons of great info today. You guys are the best.
Dinko.
1200 is great exercise."
Yeah, it's a great exercise.
Sure.
There, so we can see this better. So when it's on copy paper, or printer paper, work with me.
Yeah, I got it.
Thank you.
Job security.
Yes, job security. Oh, you can see the difference. And I also do this because you don't have to push as hard and it's easier to place on the wood. And one last step, because I was already using tracing paper to transfer over. So that is why I do it that way.
Thank you, Spence. Don't forget to like.
Yes. And there's something we forgot to say last week because I was having a coughing fit that we definitely need to all say together.
Okay, I know it this time.
Do you really?
I do.
You sure?
Yep, I know it. Absolutely.
Why do I not trust you?
I have no idea. Anyway, say what you're going to say.
Don't forget.
The children love the books.
You're awesome. You can do this. Why? Because you're a pyro artist. Don't forget to watch the other videos, catch up, and I do have a speed video finishing getting the skull all blocked in. See you next week for fabric. Happy burning. Bye. You're silly.